Hello everyone, my name is Avril Blondelot, I'm head of content insight at Glance. And Glance is the new name of your data team. Our job is to tell you who's watching what, when and how. Our information comes directly from the television audience measurement agencies across countries. We are a team of 65 persons based in Paris and London, plus a network of people based across the world, including in Asia. I would like to thank, more specifically, Cécile, our head of Nota, Bihan, who's looking over Asian content in Paris with us, and Bing Ling, who's working with Bihan. They have been of great help to pack this presentation. Here with me at ATF are also Bo Zhang, who is our sales manager, and François Lhomme, our sales director. The results we are going to talk about are coming from our Nota database. And Nota is a tool that we use to help sellers to identify content flows and market opportunities, and to help broadcasters to keep up with the trends and identify potential content acquisitions. It's covering nearly 50 markets and over 550 channels. In Asia more specifically, we have 9 markets, and it represents 20% of the total new series which are detected by Nota. And fiction is very important in Asia. It represents 64% of all what's launched in the region. So in the next 30 minutes, we're going to talk about drama trends, about a few content, 22, quite a big list of them, and to highlight what the current trends are. And to do that, we will use Nota, which also shows that fiction is increasing. The number of new fiction series is increasing across the Asian markets, and it's mainly domestic content that is being done currently, so there's big, lots of original concepts to be talking about. I would like to start this presentation with what's defining Asia. I mean, it's so specific, it's really true across many Asian markets, and you don't find romantic drama with such a magnitude in other countries in the West. So, what you're seeing here now is the keywords that we use to qualify the content in our database. And it appears that relationships-based shows represent 70% of all the launches which we detect. And it is on an upward trend. So, of course, we won't be able to talk about all of the trends that we find among the romances here, but we'd like to pick a few which are in common to some of the latest hits. And the first one is covering for all the tragedies that you can find in the love stories that are been made impossible because of family background, family tradition, or events which are very hard. And it's very specific to Southeast Asia, more specifically. We'd like to start with this Vietnamese show, who ranked as the best performing launch in Vietnam in the past months, across the past months. And it's telling the story of a young woman who fell in love with her owner. And everything, her life, and it's really following her across the years. It starts in the 50s, and all of her life is really a tragedy. It's a production value which is a lot above the usual country standard, and it really was paid by a huge success. Another sad story now coming from Malaysia, which starts with the rape of a young lady, and it's really focusing on the strong psychological impact it has on her. The young man that you're seeing here is truly in love with her, but she can't fall in love after what happened. We have a short video extract to show the conflicts that they are facing.
Saya betul-betul ikhlas. Saya nak jadi kawan isteri saya. Sebab itulah saya hantar cincin kepada mak ayah awak. Sebab saya rasa awak adalah perempuan paling sesuai untuk saya jadi isteri.
Mana kau tahu yang aku ni sesuai untuk kau? Kau tak tahu dia sejarah aku seperti.
Saya tak kisah tu.
quite a dramatic take on their relationships, and some hints at the family background, so which is very specific to Asia. Now I'd like to talk more about a classic. You know, all the shows that are portraying a couple which is so different, two persons are very different from one another. And among this category, we have an Indian show, which is telling the story of very different individuals. Their different worlds collide one day, but somehow they don't really find the time to express their feelings to each other. We have a short video extra. It's been a huge success on Star Plus, adding 36% on the sub average.
ये कहानी है दो लोगों की। एक शहर का नंबर 1 कार्डियोलॉजिस्ट रोहित।
मुझे ओटीपी रेडी करो सर्जरी के लिए। मुझे रिपोर्ट अभी चाहिए राइट बिफोर आई डू द सर्जरी।
जिसके पास सब कुछ है सिवाय वक्त के। तो दूसरी ओर टेलीविजन की नंबर 1 हीरोइन सोनाक्षी। इसके लिए इसका काम ही सब कुछ है, पर अब इसके पास भी नहीं। एक दिलों का इलाज करता है तो दूसरी दिलों पर राज। क्या मोहब्बत के लिए भी फुर्सत मिल पाएगी?
जिन्हें मिलना होता है वो मिलकर ही रहे, बस वक्त सही होना चाहिए।
Now from Thailand, a young boy and clumsy boy meeting a handsome, popular older boy. There are nasty rumors around their relationships, and after which their relationship starts to degenerate. It's been adapted from a boys' love novel, which is popular in Thailand, and it's part of a trend which we are observing from Thailand. And not only, I mean, you know, across countries, there is really a push right now to portray a greater diversity in the content side, and in Thailand it's not just a push, it's really a genre in itself. We have many shows showing right now boys' love, among which Dark Blue Kiss, which is also adapted from a boys' love novel, and many others which you're seeing appearing here. Dark Blue Kiss is really about an ensemble of young boys who are in love with each other, so it's a mixed up relationships that you can find here. And it doesn't really have the look and feel of some of the major coming of age series which you can find across countries. We have a short video extract for you.
เป็นไงบ้างเฮ้ยเดี๋ยวคุณไม่ต้องเก่งมากพี่จ๋าอยากบอกว่าผมขอเลยพี่จ๋ากลัวอะไรวะไม่ใส่ชุดกูดิทำไม่เคยเลยอะมึงนี่นะใจดีตามใจทุกคนในเป็นกู
Primarily from Thailand, but it's really buzzing across Asian markets. Now the second part of this presentation is talking about aspiring youngsters. You know, Asia, in many Asian markets, have a very young populations, and it's something that you can see on screen. So you have many shows showing, you know, how what it means to grow up and to find its independence. From Vietnam, we have also here a great audience success compared to VTV3 channel average. It's talking about young orphans and which you follow growing up. They have conspiracy happens against each other, and they really try to escape from the miserable situation that they have. Another example sitting in this category is the amazing Tara from India. She's unique, outgoing, and very different than her perfect-looking and talented sister. Despite that, or perhaps because of that, she's really trying hard to fulfill her father's dream. There is a strong father-daughter connection, some local specifics such as this very bright and colorful setting, Indian dancing, of course, but still it's a very simple story, and I'm sure it's something that everyone can relate to. It's been up the channel average by 70% on its launch. Now, more specifically, among this category, we have quite many shows which can be described involving young people, work, but also educational. All this together represent 20% of the Asian content which we have in LOTA. And in China, there has been an upward trend to include more educational shows recently. And among the many choices we had, we choose this one. It's been launched on many platforms and had great audience successes on many of them. It's talking, about the examination that you take to enter college in China, which is putting a lot of pressure on the young individuals. And it's really their story and their family setting. So we also have a short clip.
你没错，我错了，我为什么要生你？我吃饱了撑的，我就不该生你。学习不灵，打架能轻。一个暑假给你报了补习班，结果呢，断崖式的下滑。你为什么一点不学他呢？我说话了。你爸也是学霸呀，是这两个才堕落，他玩我怎么知道？哪个妈妈怎么了？还让你没后妈？我未来你要跟他好好相处，好好向他学习。
刚才北京听他讲，又是这种，这年也不小，叨叨。再到我这谈恋爱的没好处。
还是不谈？跟你说多少遍，谁允许谈恋爱的？别把友谊给带坏。什么事都没因为什么呢？以前咱俩就好好待着，不好好待赶紧走。
我跟你不是一家，我跟我女儿是一家。
你学考分算什么事儿？别人推着你这种管闲事。
And after college, you have to enter the professional world, and there are quite many shows also really focusing about this very special moment of time. Among which we have this Indonesian series talking about a young girl whose dream is to become a wedding planner. She's helped by her boyfriend who is trying to invest with her in a business. So there is a romantic approach in it, I told you. I mean, romance is everywhere, but still here the focus is really on what it means to become economically independent and what it means to enter professional life. In this category also sits this upcoming series from China, which is about an ensemble of women, 3 of them more specifically, working in the cosmetic industry, where you have to fight really hard to try to make your career. And it's not rare right now to see shows from China showing career-oriented young women. We also have in this category, among those, this program which is playing here, which is talking about the real house estate. So it's more, a business that is understandable by anyone, that you can relate to. So you have a very strong and powerful woman, and it centers around her, but it's still something that you can relate to. And it's adapted from a Japanese format. We have a short video extra.
我是走柜台的听证者，我叫房思锦。你把柜台上缺乏啥的？
我不说了，你好，房子看一眼吧。
你为什么整天在办公室里待着？没事做吗？你是算盘吧？摸一摸，动一动。你为什么还在这里？
看到了啊！
我一会儿那个单位来了，就给我1分钟的时间。
你去买热水。
买热水，给我来杯拿走，不要咖啡，不要奶，不要糖。
方店长，这灯牌就要开单了。
没有我卖不出去的。如果这单成了，在中产上开。
哦，优秀。
但佣金算我的。体育本人。
报告方店长，几乎过上班时间又搞去了。
这人吧，不能总想着自己当前吧，那有时候当名分也挺
我们懂做事情的节奏。
你说你们店今天这个业绩，
我心里有数。
我只买凶人，不做。
So the last two shows and the next one are centering around people who are turning 30. So when you're 30, you're not so young, but you still have lots of life opportunities. So it's a perfect time to really have a midlife crisis somehow, or to start to think about what your future will be. And that's a trend that we observe in Japan, in China, in many countries. And where we find these very beautiful programs, which is like on vacation. It's a young girl who decides all of a sudden to quit everything, her boyfriend, her job, and also her social media activities. And I know it can be very important nowadays. What you will see is when she decides to say no for the first time. It's a series that takes the time to follow her wanderings, her failures. So it can be risky somehow because it takes the time to do it, but it was really paid by very strong audience results, which is a nice result. So let's have a quick look at her inner revolution.
計算違ってるんですけど、何度見ても2束100円の小松菜が500円に。今の私にこの400円は大きいよ。でも混んでるし、ごねてるって思われたら。
So it may appear as a small event, but it's really the start of a new start for her. It's a new start for her. Now, strong women, a trend which is gathering in many countries, and Asia is no exception to that. To show this, we'd like to talk about General's daughter, which is coming from Philippines, and which is telling the story of a young girl who's trained by her father to become a spy on his enemy, who's the general of the army. And, it's an action-packed series with strong emotions and still a strong father-daughter connection that we can observe in many shows in Asia. And it's, I watch out the spoiler alert here, but it happens to be that her father is not necessarily who she thought he was. So, yeah, lots of things to happen and develop across quite a long series. It's been also a very great boutique success in the Philippines. Now I'd like to talk about mysteries and dualities, and which is quite a broad category where we find shows defined by psychology, investigation, mystery, representing a total of 20% of the Nota database. And within this broad category, you have something uptrending in South Korea, more specifically, which are political thrillers. We'll come back to this later. The least we can say is that Asia can build up on a strong imaginary worlds, among which ghosts are part of the folklore across different markets. And if you want to have a series about ghosts, I really recommend you Hotel de Luna. It's absolutely beautiful. The photography that you're seeing here is marvelous. And I believe there is a strong potential to travel and to appeal to international audiences. To Westerners, I would describe the series as, you know, Kill Bill meeting the Tim Burton universe and taking place in a hotel which in many ways reminds the Grand Hotel de Budapest from Wes Anderson. So I think you should have a look at it if you haven't already. And besides, it's also a strong audience success. Now, China, what has been described by the local as the hottest costume of the summer, which is very important recognition in China, I have to say. It's young men fighting evil, which is taking the form of a powerful clan in this imaginary world, because it's all about fantasy here. We have a short video extract to show you. It's a bit more.
你回来了。学习协同，终归会付出代价。四道碎石，各随其行。谁是邪匪？很多人话语说得清啊。要想好，死去也是真正的离经叛道。 身处艰苦，这难道就是你我誓死守候的诺言？
Really shows that catches your full attention. Now, mysteries are often used to portray strong human drama, strong drama stories. And among this trend, we have this Malaysian series, which is telling the story of a family who lost her child. So there is a lot of sadness coming from there, conflicts and so on. Years later, someone appears and say he's the lost son. No one knows who he really is, so there is a very specific atmosphere coming from them, an intriguing storyline, which is very different from what we used to see from Malaysia. We also have in Hong Kong now what's described by many as the Black Mirror from Hong Kong. So it's a dystopian. It's describing a dystopian future where technology carries out unpredictable and alarming possibilities. So it's working really as an anthology series with different stories each episode. We have a short video extra.
呢張係我哋根據數據分析推薦俾你嘅會員圖像名單。如果你成為咗我哋嘅鑽石級會員，雪兒就會優先考慮你啦。
我咩都肯做㗎，你要我做咩我都肯做㗎，我求下你啊！ 我哋記得係為公義㗎嘛。咩都冇晒就因為你啊，大公義啊！你做我就算啦，你搞我屋企人做咩？仲要唔好影響你？早晨啊，我都為大家建設更美好嘅將來。我哋吸水飲水啦。冇飲啊，冇飲啊！我叫 Joyce 啊，你新搬嚟㗎？如果呢個上手住下，佢死咗好耐㗎。
So when you see such a series, you start wondering about the future, and it's become a strong mystery. So you have mysteries that help to think, and help mysteries that prompt to act. And that's what we'd like to talk about now. The first program is not so much of a mystery, but more about the building of a nationalistic myth. You know, the People's Republic of China has celebrated its 70th anniversary last October, which is really important for the country. And therefore we had quite a few shows depicting what happened 70 years ago when the Communist Party was fighting the Kuomintang. This show has been a huge success in the country. There are many shows also which were a success on the channel, but also appearing among the top shows in the country. It's not necessarily something that we travel a lot, apart from the Chinese diaspora perhaps, but it's something you really have to have in mind when you talk about Chinese trends, if you want to understand the landscape there. Now, a very interesting cooperation between Singapore and Taiwan. You know, there is one plot here, it's about cybercrime, and the plot is developed across two series, one taking place in Taiwan, one in Singapore, and sometimes there are a relationship between the two series, but you don't have to watch the two of them to be able to follow the plots. We have also a video. No, we don't have a video, sorry. But it's very interesting, and if you want to go for it at the regional level, it's a very interesting way to look at it. Now, 5 kids addicted to drugs and who get involved in the peddling of drugs somehow. One of them gets killed, so all of a sudden they start realizing that it's a dangerous business. And you know, it's a series which is telling the story of drugs traffic with several perspectives, the parents one, the kids one, the cops, the drugs dealers, so quite rich and immersive story to follow. Now, the K political drama, we mentioned it earlier, quite a strong trend right now, an upward one at least. And I didn't pick too many shows here, but one which was an amazing success in terms of audience, almost increased the channel average 8 times at its launch, so it's quite unique, I would say, in terms of audience. It's the story of 3 people who are collaborating to try to reveal corruption and to fight against powerful people. It's good cops fighting bad cops, and we have a short extract.
자기가 먼저 손님이라고 아무나 그렇지 않았어. 말해, 내가 신경 써볼게. 말하고 싶거든. 그래, 내가 무슨 행복 좋은 겁니까?
이봐요.
너희들 뭐야?
경찰 지시예요.
이번 수소 개인 감정 있는 겁니까? 이거 모르는 뭔가가 있어. 맘수대하고 연관있는.
반장님, 가장 좋아하는 선배도 자다 나왔잖아요.
그때부터 망가진 경찰을 쫓겨 결심했어. 또 죽어. 너만 빼고 다 부패했다고 생각하지. 나머지를 잡아먹는 놈하고 일하겠다.
반장님이 내가 잡아먹었습니다.
경찰 지휘부 비리 수사 구해 주십시오.
드디어 기회가 있네요. 같이 잘해봐요.
Now, before we conclude, I'd like to say a word about Russia. Russia is at the crossroad between Europe and Asia. And there is one show which is interesting, in line with what we've just said, because it summarizes quite many of the trends which we mentioned. So it's a man who has a brain tumor, and his brain tumor stops when he's acting for good. So to be able to survive, he needs to put his life at risk. That's quite a paradox, but it's the mechanism which is around which this series is built. We have a short video extract. So you see, ordinary meeting a strong action and a mystery at it.
У меня опухоль мозга. Неоперабельная. Осталось месяца 3, может 5. Вот я решил не ждать. Поэтому мне все равно, от машины или от пули. Опять неплохо.
Не узнаете меня? Вы помогли мне.
Всем помогаю. Такой человек.
Я наблюдаю снижение динамики. Что ты принимал?
Понятно. То есть вы просто дерьмо. Не нужен риск. Максимальный. Это единственный способ выжить. Есть вариант. Очень
готов к любым последствиям.
Ты кто?
Иван Сергеевич Латушин. Просто человек.
In some respects, this show reminds a flagship show from Amazon, Family Man, which is coming from India. And you know, his health condition is still a mystery to me, but I hope this mystery can travel the world somehow, and especially Asia. So that's all for me. We've covered 22 programs across 13 different markets. I know it's a lot, but you know, there's so much creativity coming from here that it's the least we can do. If you have any questions, both François and myself are here up until tomorrow, so feel free to come to see us. Thank you very much for your attention and hope we can catch up very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.